Hi team, we run Coach Alexa here, coach for Reading, South Oxfordshire and online. I wanted to do a series of videos about overtraining. So this is where we have too much of a challenge for our body in terms of the training stimulus. So that might be across all the activities that you do, including running, and not enough time for recovery. So it's where the kind of balance, the seesaw between training stimulus, the sessions that you do, and time for your body to recover and adapt has gone too far that way, usually for a substantial enough amount of time for your body not to have been able to play catch up. So, I might deliberately get an athlete into a more fatigued state, training fatigued in a certain block of their training, knowing that there was going to be recovery afterwards, knowing that we were peaking kind of further down the line. So you might get a little bit of build up of fatigue, as part of that training strategy at that point. But overtraining is when it's unplanned, but also is usually a bit more of an insidious build up. So how do you know when you might be struggling with overtraining related symptoms? And it's a funny old mixed bag of things, and it's one of the reasons why I really try and encourage my runners to keep a written training diary, and why I ask them about life, family, work, everything that goes on outside of just of their running when I catch up with them. And it's because it can manifest itself in lots of different ways. It can become triggered by different things. So I would always look at people's training balance, but I would also look at how they're sleeping. Are they feeling more tired than usual? Are they sleeping more than usual? Or are they actually having trouble sleeping and sleeping less than usual? What is their post-run recovery like? Do they feel like they've bounced back within 24 hours of a speed session, or is it taking a little longer? What are their energy levels like? Are they finding it a struggle to get out of bed? Are they losing concentration when they're at work? Do they feel like cognitively, they're on it, or are they struggling a little bit? Do they feel a real sense of sort of collapsing into bed, or really once they've got on the sofa in the evening, it really struggling to kind of get back up again? Are they eating more or less than usual, or than is usual for them? So it's why it's good to get to know your own trends, your own energy level pattern throughout the days and weeks, your own natural sort of hungry times and times where you don't want to eat, your natural eating patterns, your natural sleeping patterns, because then all of these things can be used just to keep a little bit of an eye on and spot whether or not you're overcooking things at all. And one other aspect, using myself from a good few years ago now when I was training for my first 24-hour race, as an example, the training itself was well balanced, but there were a number of factors that had changed in the final 3 months building up to that race in my life that affected me and got me to in the beginning of overtraining syndrome, with the benefit of hindsight looking back on this all. One of which was trying to sell my flat, and the other of which was going through a pretty rough time at a job I was doing at the moment, moving into the wonderful world of running coaching when I worked in an office. So those two things were not just drains on my time, but quite a lot of kind of emotional energy, a bit of a source of stress. So I had those stress hormones floating around my body. I wasn't sleeping as well. I was working longer hours, so my meal timing went a little bit patchy. The quality of the food I was eating probably dropped a little bit. And all of that was happening whilst I was trying to do that final endurance build for a 24-hour race. And my body and my brain, quite rightly, started just waving the white flag and went, hang on a second, we can't really manage all of this. So I'll do a few more videos on a few more of the little specifics, but those are just a few of the things to think about and to look out for. And it is a really, really varied batch of stuff. I've worked with a number of runners over the years that have overtrained before and have started working with me as a result, and people that I've been working really hard with. And because, life as circumstances have changed quite a lot, actually the amount of physical training we can do for a similar year of races has changed quite a little bit, and we've had to adapt to make sure sure that we don't get into that overtraining fatigue pattern. So the biggest takeaway I get is keeping that written training diary. You know, I literally have a paper-based one still that I can flick back through, but keeping a bit of a write-up of your runs, how you feel during and after, energy levels, eating habits, those sorts of things is really good to just get to know you and your baseline, and then you can start to spot any changes. Happy running.